The city of Chicago will sue Jussie Smollett for more than $130,000 for allegedly wasting police resources on his hate crime hoax. Joining me now, Brandon Tatum, former Tucson police officer and author of Beaten Black and Blue, Being a Black Cop in an America Under Siege. Good morning to you, Brandon. And, it sounds like this lawsuit is more about proving a point than trying to get the money back. What do you think about this?
Well, I think it's appropriate that they sue him because he did waste a lot of resources. I blame the Chicago Police Department as well because they should have never went so far to investigate such a ridiculous accusation. And, we all know, anybody can see it from the very beginning of it, that Jussie Smollett made this up. There was no way in the world two white guys screaming MAGA country beat him up in the middle of the night. And so the police department, they had some responsibility. And the only reason that they took this so seriously and put those resources behind him because he was a celebrity. So they should be ashamed of doing that. But he needs to pay back that money. He wasted resources.
Brandon, I think the reason he staged this hate crime hoax to begin with says a lot about where we are as a country, where there is a desire to be a victim because you can now use it to get ahead. This is a relatively new cultural phenomenon. What do you make of that and what that means for the future of this country?
Well, it's daunting for the future of this country if this continues. But what it says to me is that, racism and these hate crimes are so dead in America that people have to make them up. I consider racism in our country to be on life support. But Jussie and these other people who are looking for an excuse to fail in his lifetime, they use these things to their advantage. But it's sad, it's ridiculous. And I really want to clarify something for the people who are viewing this. Just because someone reports a hate crime doesn't mean it's officially verified as a hate crime. Anybody can report a hate crime. And so when they have numbers that show up that say there's an increase in hate crime reporting, that means absolutely nothing. People can say whatever they want to say until it's verified or the investigation has led it to be true. It's just an accusation.
Yeah, well, he is facing that lawsuit from Chicago police. His legal team's also facing another lawsuit from the Asandaro brothers. So certainly more to come on that front. In the meantime, Tucson Police Chief Chris Magnus, he was just confirmed to lead CBP, Customs and Border Protection. And to get a sense of where he stands on the border issue, take a listen to what he had to say during his confirmation hearing. Watch this.
I'm not sure, does it really matter whether we call it a major challenge, a crisis? In fact,
is there a crisis or is there not a crisis at the border?
Senator, I would say that my highest priority is going to...
I didn't ask your priority. I asked to characterize the situation on the border. Is there a crisis at the border?
What I'm certainly trying to convey is how serious I take what's happening at the border.
Okay, so he was your boss when you were a police officer. What is he like, and how will he do in this new role?
Well, first off, I did work for him, and I think he's a coward. Only reason he got this role is because we're in a woke-topia with the Biden administration. If you're married to another man, then I guess that's one qualification that you have. And if you're an activist, that's qualification number two. This is probably the most unqualified person to be leading Border Patrol and Customs. He started out at Richmond, an agency that's 5 times smaller than the Tucson Police Department, and now he's going to an agency 62 times bigger than Tucson Police Department. He's overwhelmed. He was not liked. He ruined the morale at the Tucson Police Department. He has no real qualifications. When I was working there, and people still talk about it even to this day, even after he's left, is that he was anti-Border Patrol. He did not want police officers to even coordinate with them to do anything related to getting illegals off of the streets of Tucson, Arizona. And so he's not a good candidate if you look at qualifications. If you want somebody who's going to be an activist and a yes man, he's 100% the perfect candidate for the Biden administration.
Brandon Tatum, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.